What's up, YouTube? We are back. It's your boy Zulu Gullah. Like, share, subscribe. Um, I, I fall back, man, because sometimes it's pointless, and the world moves how it moves. Um, Whether you want to call it slaves or sheep, you know, people are the difference makers, but they don't do anything and they don't do enough. And when I talk to y'all about like I shy away from the norms and the culture. I really mean that because you can see stuff that's obvious, that's in plain sight. And if you stay with the norms, if you go with the majority, the stuff that you see that's obvious in plain sight that needs to be addressed, they don't want you to say anything. They don't want you to point it out. They just want you to go along with the flow. Uh, Me personally, like the exit plan is always going to be in effect because I just don't know how things are going to turn out when you get a party of people who are psychotic. I mean, what I have seen going back to 2016 that transpired in the Democratic Party with Bernie Sanders um, losing the Democratic Party presidential nominee, and by no means doesn't mean that I I'm thinking something, in the long lines of Bernie Sanders was the best candidate or anything like that. But that revealed to me more than ever, like how dangerous the Democratic Party was. And I didn't know that the Democratic Party operated and was consisted of so many different groups and agendas, but particularly led by an elitist group in which they do very, very, very dirty stuff, very dirty, inhumane. Uh, I'm just the worst things you can think of to keep power. They do it, right? And it's even crazier when you have other groups mixed in with the Democratic Party. So, and I know the Republican Party is just not one set of people, but the Democratic Party by far has so many different agendas and ideas of many different groups that it would probably be impossible to be on one accord and to be stable. Um, you know, you have all kinds of rainbow groups, not just one in particular. They try to go under one banner, but they're all different. Uh, you have feminists. Um, you have like, of course, they say liberal, radicals. Some can be more than one thing. What I don't understand is why can't people see the stuff that's going on? Like the way they abuse the legislation process, the judicial process. Look how many times Donald Trump was targeted throughout his tenure and after his whole first presidency. They tried to impeach him 2 or 3 times. Uh, they threatened to file charges on him way back then, and then they constantly filed case after case after case. I tell people, man, whether you like Trump or not, as much as they done to him, and he come out on top. I said Trump is the original gangster. He is the utmost original American gangster as it can get. Um, you can talk the street talk, or You can talk the mob talk, the wise guy talk, but Trump's it. Say what you want to say about him, whether you like him or not. He gangster. For real. Like, for real. When you have the whole U.S. government and state governments, prosecutors, you know, coming at you and you stand tall and you make it back to being president, he gangster. Y'all don't want to admit it, then that's, and this ain't a black or white issue. This is just me looking at how men can go hard, whether regardless of race. If you a man, when you hunker down and you got to get it done, go hard. I got to give somebody their props. That shit gangster. But the Democratic Party, man, is in disarray. They panicking because they lost. But you got to go back to what were these people trying to do anyway? Because everything that they done didn't even make sense. It was obvious that nothing y'all done makes sense. The only thing that, if you can look at the patterns, it was revolving around private interests. I told everybody these migrants were let in to replace Americans who didn't want to work for low wages, and also to be a new voting bloc. Everywhere you go, people are hiring, but nobody wants to work for 10, 12, $15 an hour. People barely want to work for $20, $25 an hour. So the migrants coming from the countries that they come from, it's a different pay scale for them. So it's acceptable. For us who have been here and been dealing with it for 20, 30, 40 years in the workforce, and the pay scale hasn't changed, these corporations and these politicians in conjunction with these corporations know that they want to keep the profits for themselves and they can't raise the pay scale, or they don't want to raise the pay scale. All the while stuff goes up, prices go up, and then lo and behold, if you get taxed more, right? It's all kind of information out there, especially with the black representatives like Al Sharpton and them, with the handouts and the money that they took. Um, a lot of these politicians are tied into these companies that are hiring, these low wage workers, outsourcing, bringing in these illegals and stuff like that. Whether they come in legally or illegal, they're outsourcing for cheap labor. It shows how Maxine Waters caters to a 61% Hispanic demographic in her district compared to her 21% black demographic. And it's the same or less with any other groups in her district. So she primarily caters to a Hispanic demographic. Makes you, realize why she is one of the few that was definitely in support of the illegals coming in, and that's how she got reelected. Shout out to Phil Scott for providing that information and putting it out there for y'all. There's a lot of information on the Phil Advice Show, Phil Scott Show, at Alpha the Sport Network, dealing with these Democrats. Um, it's crazy. Supposedly they're supposed to be threatening black people who voted for Donald Trump. So I thought you could live in a country where you had the right to vote for who you want, choose who you want. So it makes absolutely no sense that these people are belligerent, aggressive, retaliatory. Uh, they abuse the process. They weaponize the judicial system. You know, if they get mad at you, they want to put charges on you versus mediate what the differences are and make false allegations like you committed crimes, and then they're the ones actually committing crimes. They're committing terrorism. These are the new domestic terrorists. So I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna let y'all go, man. But y'all be careful and y'all keep watching that demon party because they are off the chain. It's your boy Zulu. Go to like, share, subscribe, comment.